Tesla is cutting out one of their most popular perks, but they're also cutting their prices across the lineup except for one model. Can you guess which one that is? Also, Tesla's board is going to be considering, get this, paying for advertisement. I know they say they don't, but they already have, so we'll see what happens with that. Inside EV's contributor Tom Moloughney is going to be here to weigh in on all of this. Then we will compare Xpeng Motors' website to Tesla's and see if you can tell the difference. We may be mourning another loss of a popular electric car, but welcoming another one from Nissan. Mercedes-Benz all-electric soccer mom van is here. We'll discuss Jay Leno's Garage Cybertruck episode, take a lesson from the Bolt EV Academy, and some good electric car news from Toyota. It feels so weird to say that, but some good news, some good electric car news from Toyota. I think my tongue literally just had a seizure. All of this is coming up next. Welcome to E4Electric, your number one source of electric car scoop. If this is your first time here and you are interested in everything that's going on in the world of electric cars, go ahead and click on that subscribe button and the bell notification icon so you don't miss anything moving forward. Alright, the top story this week is Tesla cutting their prices on Model S and Model X by $5,000 and Model 3 by $2,000. As you noticed, I did not mention the Model Y because that price will stay the same. I can only assume, and I think safely assume, that it's because there is still good demand on that model, so there is no reason for that. But it also tells me that there is not enough demand for the Model S and Model X and even the Model 3. Let's dive a little bit deeper into that, and for that, let me bring in the Inside EV's contributor, Tom Moloughney. All right, Tom, a rare price reduction on all models, but the Model Y, what do you make of it?
Yeah, so Tesla lowered the price on Sex, but not Sexy. They dropped the Model 3 Short Range Plus $2,000, the Model S Long Range Plus and X Long Range Plus $5,000. It's not surprising to me. You know, I think it's a couple things at force here playing. Number one, Tesla needs to give themselves a little bit of a shot in the arm for Q2. You know, we have another month to go, and it's been a disastrous month because of COVID. And, you know, this is probably part of their plan to just try to inject some last minute money into the company. I mean, we've seen this in the past. As quarters come to an end, Tesla does something for a few weeks to try to get more people to buy the cars. I think that that's mostly what's happening here.
So, but why worry about Q2 so much? I mean, everyone's going to have a disastrous quarter unless you're making, you know, toilet paper or hand sanitizer. Why Tesla wants to stand out?
Well, you know, you don't just want to throw in the towel and say, okay, we had COVID, we're going to have terrible numbers. You fight to make the numbers as good as possible, and that's what they're doing here. They're saying, you know what, let's full court press. They did that with the full self-driving. Elon tweeted it's going to go up in July. That was to get people to jump on the bandwagon and order it now in Q2. And now they're doing a little bit of a price reduction. I think it's warranted. Maybe not for the 3, but for the S and the X, I think a $5,000 price reduction should happen, to be honest with you. Those two vehicles are aging now. They've been around for a while without real significant upgrades. I think that this is justified for those models.
Now, why do you say that? I mean, you know, obviously over-the-air updates have kept both of those cars on par with the Model 3. They still go faster, 0 to 60, than the Model 3, especially the Model S. Model S has the longer range if you're talking about the upper level there than the Model 3. Why do you think they are outdated?
Well, the S has basically been in the same form since 2012. This is the 8th or 9th year that it's being made. Yes, there've been some upgrades, and with the over-the-air upgrades, Tesla's kept the car quote unquote fresh. But, you know, take a look at charging times, for instance. The Model 3, which costs, you know, $30,000 less than a Model S, can charge faster. And that's kind of a bitter pill to swallow. I was talking to a good friend of mine recently, and that's one of the things that he's really complete. He does a lot of long distance driving in his S up and down the East Coast. And he really wishes that it could charge faster. His car can't even charge at the 120 kilowatts anymore because it's been out for a couple of years, and once you supercharge a lot, Tesla might slow down the top charging rate, which it seems to have happened with his car. So the long distance driving isn't really as convenient as it used to be.
All right, Tom is going to stick around because we're going to bring him back in for another story we're covering later in this video. But for now, I have to say I'm a little bit surprised that the Tesla Model 3 may not be in as much demand as I thought it would be, because in Q1, Tesla Model 3 was the most sold car in California. Not the most sold electric car. That's been going on for a long time now. But the most sold car in California, beating out the Honda Civic. But it's not all good news about Tesla cutting down on prices, because they're also cutting down on one of the most popular feature, which is the free supercharging. Now, the last time we did the story, they were also cutting down on free supercharging, and it was, it was kind of time, because I remember somebody said it was not sustainable. Who was? Oh, that's right. That was Elon himself saying how unsustainable it was going to be moving forward. And then a couple months later, they kind of snuck it back in. But okay, now it's over again. I'm not saying it's not coming back, because anything is possible when it comes to Tesla. At the same time, I think people will be pretty happy with the new pricing. So I guess it kind of evens itself out. Another interesting Tesla story is that the board of directors is going to be considering a proposal from one of the shareholders on its upcoming annual meeting whether or not Tesla should spend money on advertising. Now, I know Elon has mentioned many times that Tesla does not advertise, but as we found out about a month ago, that it's not 100% true, as obviously Tesla spent some money paying to one of the most popular influencers in China, Via. The proposal suggests that Tesla should spend $50 per each car to advertise. Now, if you do a little bit of math, and we expect Tesla to sell about 500,000 cars per year, this is only about $25 million. That doesn't really go too far. In comparison, the BMW Group spends around $300 million, and that's just in the United States. And I don't think that goes very far either. For example, did you know that BMWs have this awesome gesture control feature? As you can see being showcased by Tom Moloughney in one of his videos. I did not know that, and I just test drove this car for a week. So, apparently advertisement is not very easy to do. Of course, you can argue that, if you're cutting your prices by $5,000 on each Model S and Model X, maybe you should not do that, but spend the $50 per car and see if that brings you more sales. Unfortunately, this proposal is not backed by the board, so it's not very likely to pass. But if it does, I'm sure one of the first influencers that they go to would be, right here. And speaking of the sponsors, quick reminder that this video and this channel is sponsored by Evanex, the Tesla community's accessory store. Use E4Electric, the name of this channel, as a discount code for all of your purchases over $100. Another story that people are talking about this week is how the Xpeng Motors and their all-electric P7, an electric sedan that I'm kind of falling in love with, but unfortunately only available in China, how its website is almost identical to what Tesla has for the Model S. Now, Tesla is already in a lawsuit with Xpeng Motors, and overall Xpeng Motors is considered to be a copycat of Tesla in China, so this is not really helping. Let's talk about Nissan. They have just unveiled their Nissan Next plan of all of the cars that they're going to be refreshing their lineup with in the next few years. Now, for the electric cars, there's a good news and there's a bad news. I'm going to bring Tom Moloughney back to tell us about both. All right, Tom, is this true? Is Nissan killing its all-electric Leaf? Especially, it's kind of weird after updating it to a better range and definitely better looks. And, their sale has been fine as well. Could it be?
Well, it's possible. And they have done a good job with the range. We have to give Nissan credit. The new Leaf Plus goes 3 times as far as the original Leaf did back when it came out in 2010. It does look like that they're going to be dropping the Leaf. Now, we don't know for certain. Nissan hasn't come out and said we're going to be cutting the Leaf, but we just got what Nissan calls their Nissan Next transformation plan. And it's all about sustainable growth and financial stability, profitability, how they're going to be cutting some models. And then they showed a video of all the models that they're going to be having in alphabetical order. And there was no car that started with an L. So it certainly looks like the Leaf is going to be one of the vehicles that they're cutting. Now, they did say in this plan that they're going to be dropping 20% of their product line by 2023. Looks like the Leaf's going to be in that 20%.
All right. Now, one model that they promised to have here in the US is the Aria SUV, which both of us seen in person, and it's a good looking car. You know, and the rest of them are going to China. Do you think it's essentially a replacement, or do you think they're kind of not getting where the universe is going with this whole electrification?
Well, this transformation plan did show that they're going to be introducing a lot of new electric vehicles in the upcoming years. It's just that they're not going to be coming to the US and Europe. So, you know, they're not giving up on electrification, but I think that they're picking their markets. I think Asia is going to see the majority of their new electric vehicles for the foreseeable future. And they'll come to US and Europe with more products when they think the market's ready for it.
Don't forget to follow Tom on Twitter and Inside EVs. I don't mean like find him and follow him around. Like follow him on Twitter. That's way more pleasant for both parties. I put those links in the description of this video. But now let's move on to the third vehicle, the third all-electric vehicle in Mercedes-Benz EQ lineup, and it's a soccer mom van, EQV. It's going in production pretty much right now. Deliveries will start shortly, obviously starting in Europe. It has a 100 kilowatt hour battery, and that will equate to about 200 to 220 EPA equivalent range. Now, the price is about $65,000 before the incentives. And I gotta say, it's a little pricey. So I'm wondering if this is going to be families, well-off families, or businesses. Let me know which one of those you think this one would be suitable for in the comment section of this video. The EQC, the all-electric SUV from Mercedes that went on sale last August, has been doing okay as far as sales are concerned. Only around 3,000 of them have been sold, and I gotta say, I'm a little surprised because it looks great, it's priced well, and at the same time, I kind of fell in love with it driving it through the streets of Frankfurt because it's very nice and luxury and Mercedes-like inside. Now, I have to say that they have not started selling it here in the United States. They push that to the beginning of next year. Jay Leno's Garage Cybertruck episode has finally aired, and I feel like one of those movies where all of the good stuff and all the good jokes were in the preview. There really wasn't that much more information in the full episode, but I did notice a couple of things. One, it looks like they had to replace the steering wheel from the futuristic one to a more conventional one, the one that you can actually use and that's approved for driving on California roads. You can see that in a couple of shots, and two, that we all now know the login code for the elevator at one of the boring tunnels. But this video has over 7 million views just on YouTube, so kudos to Jay Leno. He has been a pretty big supporter of the electric car revolution, and the all-electric Porsche Taycan will make its debut on his show later in the season. Chevy Bolt EV, yeah, why do they make us say EV? It's not like there's a gas-powered version of the Bolt. So Chevy Bolt has had its best quarter ever since it was launched a few years ago in Q1, and they're trying to keep it going with a lot of incentives, including up to $8,500 off directly from Chevrolet. As a matter of fact, you can pick up a lease for under $200 if you're willing to throw a few $1,000s into your down payment. But now Chevy has launched the Chevy Bolt EV Academy. It's kind of like what your kids are doing over Zoom right now, except for the electric car owners, specifically the Bolt owners. It's a series of YouTube videos highlighting some of the Bolt features. It does have a shameless promotion of the OnStar feature, but overall, I gotta be honest with you, I was gonna make fun of it. But then I watched them, and I have to say, a few of them are pretty useful, like This one about location charging. So for example, if the car determines that your car's at home and you want it to charge after 11 p.m., that's what it's going to do every time. But if you're trying to charge it at your office or at the mall, that restriction would be lifted because it's at a different location. I thought it was pretty cool. Now let's talk about the Toyota RAV4 Prime, which is going to be a pretty decent electric vehicle, a plug-in hybrid with a range of 42 miles. That's one of the best on the market now that the Volt is gone. It will start at around $38,000, but that's MSRP, which means minus the discounts, minus the local incentives, minus the $7,500 tax credit here in the United States, and all of a sudden, this vehicle becomes a pretty decently priced plug-in hybrid SUV from Toyota. I still can't get my muscles and my mouth just can't. And yes, it looks like Toyota is making the right small step forward, creating this plug-in hybrid, and maybe one day there will be a fully electric RAV4. Oh, that's right. They already had a fully electric RAV4, and it was back in 1997. All right, so maybe I take the whole moving forward thing back, but nevertheless, small steps. However, I have to say, this is probably going to be the best sold plug-in hybrid of all times in the next couple of years. Let me know in the comment section if this has some appeal to you as well. A quick shout out to all of my Patreons. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. If you want to become a part of my Patreon community, go to patreon.com/e4electric. I also put that link in the description of this video. Looking forward to all of your comments. Other than that, see you guys next time, and remember to stay charged.